India blocks moves motion to impeach Madras High Court judge. The move comes against the backdrop of the judge's order directing authorities in Tamil Nadu to ensure that Karthigai Deepam was lit at Deepakur near Adarghat from Chennai. MPs of the India bloc on Tuesday submitted a letter to Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla to move an impeachment motion in Parliament against Justice G. R. Swaminathan of the Madurai bench of Madras High Court. They accused the judge of deciding on cases based on political ideology and sought to move a motion for his removal under Article 217. Read with Article 124 of the Constitution, the House resolves to pass a motion for the impeachment of Justice G.R. Swaminathan, said the letter. Dravida Munnetra, Kaziham, BNK Parliamentary Party leader Kochiyom Kanimozi said Dr. Om Birla told the MPs that he would look into the issue. Other MPs who submitted the letter include the party's Lok Sabha leader T.R. Balu, Congress MP Priyanka Gandhi, Samajwadi Party leader Akhilesh Yadav, CPI member Suvin San, DMK member A. Raja, VCK MP Thol, Thiruva Lavan and MDMK leader Durai Vaiko. The India bloc's decision to move an impeachment motion against the judge comes against the backdrop of his order directing the authorities of the Subramania Swami temple at Thiruparankundram, Madurai to ensure that the Kardigai Deepam was lit at a Deepathun pillar near the Dargad atop the hill. As many as 107 MPs had signed the letter, which stated that the conduct of Justice Swaminathan raised serious questions regarding impartiality, transparency, and the secular functioning of the judiciary. The letter accused Justice Swaminathan of showing undue favoritism to Sri Charan Ranganathan, senior advocate in deciding cases, and also favoring advocates from a particular community. He is deciding cases on the basis of a particular political ideology and against the secular principles of the Indian Constitution, they alleged. The MPs submitted copies of letters written by members of the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha to President Draupadi Murmu and Chief Justice of India Surya. The Lok Sabha witnessed a face-off between the DMK, which leads the United Progressive Alliance government in Tamil Nadu, and the Bharatiya Janata Party, which leads the National Democratic Alliance in the center over the issue last week. DMK leader T.R. Balu had accused the BJP of trying to ignite communal tension in the state, while Union Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs L. Murugan charged the DMK-led government with denying devotees their right to worship. Indigo set to reduce 400 to 500 flights daily to stabilize schedule from New Delhi. Indigo will slash 400 to 500 flights to fully stabilize its daily schedule, nearly double the number of cuts the government ordered after the airline's failure to allocate enough pilots after the new night flying rules crippled its operations and led to the cancellation of hundreds of flights over the past week. The airline will now operate 1800 to 1900 flights daily instead of 2300 it was operating earlier. An Indigo executive told the personnel. This implies that nearly 81,000 passengers a day will be affected until full capacity is restored, according to back of the envelope calculation, assuming 90% seat occupancy on its 180 seat aircraft. The airline did not provide any clarity on how long it would take to return to full capacity, but the executive said the airline would inform passengers about cancellation 72 hours in advance. Indigo's decision to curtail flights came even as Civil Aviation Minister K. Ram Mohan Naidu said in a post on X that the airline had been ordered to slash 10% of its flights. This was up from 5% the government ordered earlier in the day. However, the final tally means Indigo is slashing 17% to 21% of its daily flights. Indigo Chief Executive Officer Elvers, who met Mr. Naidu on Tuesday, said in a recorded video statement before the meeting that the airline's operations had fully stabilized, which means the flights reflecting on our website are scheduled to operate with an adjusted network. The airline also said it was now flying to all the 138 destinations in its network and its on-time performance had improved to 85% to 90% of flights adhering to their arrival and departure slots. The figure had dropped to as low as 3.5% last week. Safety non-negotiable. Earlier in the day, Mr. Naidu said in the Lok Sabha that the airline had been directed to restructure its operations and reserve new capacity. No airline, however large, will be permitted to cause such hardship to passengers through planning failures, non-compliance or non-adherence to statutory provisions. Safety in civil aviation is completely non-negotiable, he said. The airline was also directed to ensure reserve capacity. A four-member committee has been set up to inquire into the large-scale flight disruptions at Indigo, and the airline's CEO and COO have been issued show cause notices warning of enforcement action. Sarfaraj show among first set from Mumbai. Sarfaraj Khan and Prithvi Shroff, who went unsold in last year's auction, have been named in the opening set of players for the Indian Premier League auction ahead of 2026 edition. The auction is scheduled to take place in Abu Dhabi on December 16. Going unsold, Surfraz found no bidders. Last IPL wide show dropped by Mumbai midway through the previous domestic season before being passed over by the franchisee have since moved to Maharashtra. The shift has worked for Shaw as he has rediscovered consistency with the bat and displayed noticeable improvement in his fitness. A well-earned spot in the candidates for drafts of India's unusually large number of disappointments at the recent Chess World Cup in Goa. R. Pragnatha was the biggest. The third seed was knocked out in the fourth round by Russia's Daniel Dubois. Hardik back with a bang as India goes one up in style. The All-Rounders unbeaten 28 ball 59 takes the home team to 175. The Proteas lost the plot in the chase and climbed to their lowest total in T20 T20s. Hardik can play either as a specialist batter or specialist bowler. Bangal says, passion and hunger. I was prepared to do whatever it took to play for India, Tendulkar says. I started playing cricket because I was passionate. I was madly in love with the sports, and all I wanted to do was play for India, and I was prepared to do whatever it took to move forward. You need hard work and planning. You need the right guidance, discipline. Sachin Tendulkar says. Bagar says former India batting coach Sanjay Bagar believes that there is no other player like Hardik Pandey in the national T20 setup. Hardik can command his spot in the top five on his batting alone. He could also be one of the top three seamers if he was just a bowler. There is no other player like Hardik Pandey in the Indian team. Fisher to replace him Wood for a remainder of Ashes series. Mark Rudenpick will play no further part in the Ashes and is set to fly back home from Australia. The fast bowler had missed the second test of his left knee flared off again. Wood will return home later this week and will work closely with us ECP on his recovery. Said a statement he will be replaced by Matthew Fisher. Hazelwood out of Ashes Cummins. Hazelwood out of Ashes Cummins set to return in Adelaide Test. Australia announced that pacer Josh Hazelwood in pick would miss the whole of the Ashes series after sitting out the first two tests with injury. Coach Andrew McDonald said Hazelwood had suffered problems in recovering from hamstring and Achilles injuries. Pat Cummins looking Pat Cummins looks certain to return as captain in next week's third test. Cheptegei to compete in Tata Steel World 25K Kolkata from Kolkata. Uganda's double Olympic and triple world champion Joshua Cheptegei and women's defending champion Sutam Aifa Kabedi will be among the top runners to compete in Tata Steel World 25K Kolkata here on December 21. Manchester United hunts down Wolves from Wolverhampton. Manchester United climbed back into the race to qualify for the Champions League as Bruno Fernandes inspired a 4-1 for one route of Wolves on Monday. Inaugural Total World Chess Championship announced Sports Bureau. World champions and World Rapid and Blitz champions will be among the 24 players who will make up next year's pilot edition of Total World Chess Championship Tour, a new tour jointly organized by FIDE and Norway Chess. Despite structural challenges, Gritty Spain Ice Madden title from Chennai. Almost every second child in Teresa, situated in the autonomous region of Cal- Catalonia in northeastern Spain, plays hockey in school with utmost passion. It is that popular. Teresa is home to nearly 10 hockey clubs, the most prominent being Club El Gram Athletic Teresa and Edie Teresa Hockey, speaking on the sport's deep-rooted popularity, Spain head coach Oriol Bugui Torres during the ongoing FIS Junior Men's Hockey World Cup said, Teresa is 20 minutes by car from Barcelona who when you walk on the streets in Teresa, you can see children with a stick in their hand inside the bus and almost always it's hockey. Same number of ATP challenges, but different prize pools from Chennai. India is set to host World ATP Challenger Tour events for the third season in a row, albeit with significant changes in schedule, prize money, and ranking points. Germany primed to extend its region. The defending champion, which has been excellent both in attack and defense, and efficient with its penalty corner conversions, would be quite a handful for Spanish output that has shown tactical adaptability rather than relying on a one-dimensional approach from Chennai. Germany has been nothing short of a force of nature at the FIG Junior Men's Hockey World Cup. Unrelenting in attack, rock solid in defense, and efficient, if not exceptional, in penalty corner conversions, the defending champion has looked a class apart. In contrast, Spain, its opponent in Wednesday's final, has appeared less convincing across these departments. It doesn't take a Nostradamus to see Germany, the seven-time champion, as a favorite when the two European sides clash. Yet Spain, operating in its maiden final after bronze medal finishes in 2005 and 2023, has shown tactical adaptability, mixing open play attacks with set piece opportunities rather than relying on a one-dimensional approach. Head coach Orion Torres acknowledged the challenge. Germany, for me, is the best team in the tournament. It is a very good side with structure, but it's only one match in final. We need to come up out. We need to come out with our best version, he said. TN Bag's best state promoting sports developments honor Demille Cavalier to miss PSG's match against Belvaux. Safi qualifies for the Indian Women's League. Influential advisor Marco all set to part ways with Red Bull. Police got into forest to curb leopard attacks. Maharashtra minister says from Mumbai. Stop linking Ladki Behan scheme with everything. Fadnavis says from Mumbai. Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis on Tuesday warned his MLA and others from the opposition for repeatedly mentioning the Mukhyamantri Majhi Ladki Behan scheme while raising unrelated questions during the question hour in the assembly. Doctor's death handwriting on note verified. Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis on Tuesday said the handwriting in a note left by the woman medical officer in Satara district, whose death by suicide in October sparked statewide protest, had been confirmed as hers. The CM was responsible. The CM was responding to BJP MLA Amit Satam's question regarding the problem in the matter. Punjab BJP demands probe into drug money trail amid AAP government's anti-drug drive. A letter to CM Bhagwant Mann, BJP's State Unit President Sunil Jakhar requests that the investigation be done under supervision of Punjab and Haryana High Court Chief Justice from Chandigarh. The Punjab unit of the Bharatiya Janata Party on Monday press for a probe into the drug money trail to track down the powerful and beneficiaries. This comes and the world government's anti-narcotics campaign, writing to Chief Mr. Bhagwant Mann, State BJP President Sunil Jakhar, demanded that an investigation under the supervision of the Punjab and Haryana High Court Chief Justice Sheel Nagu be conducted to track down the end beneficiaries in the drug money trap. This is important if your government wants to establish credibility and resolve in the fight against drugs, Mr. Jacob said. It would thus be appropriate if you, as Chief Minister, write to the Honorable Punjab and Haryana High Court Chief Justice seeking his intervention to set up a time-bound probe by a credible agency or even a multi-agency probe under his supervision to uncover the end beneficiaries in the drug money trail, he added. The BJP leader said that it is imperative to follow the money in the trail without which the exercise to root out drugs from Punjab is not only futile but a farce. But the flow of money has to be established to catch the big fish and arrest the end beneficiaries, be it politicians across party lines or officials. The drug cartels in Punjab cannot strive without some or the other kind of patronage, he said. He added that the recovery of narcotics in Punjab was into several thousands of crores of rupees, which underlines the road that exists, not just drug money trail. The probe should also include in its scope the trail of illicit money from mining and Sant mafia so that the guilty can be brought to book, Mr. Jakar said. EC officials organized SIR camps to assist sex workers in Kolkata. From Kolkata, a fortnight since the sex workers of Kolkata, Songacha sought assistance with the ongoing special intensive division. The chief electoral officer of West Bengal, Manoj Kumar Agarwal, visited the red light area with other election officials on Tuesday to organize special assistance campus for marginalized electors. There are roughly 12,000 electors electors in the area. Linkage with the 2002 voters list has been established for 70% of them. The campus have been held to assist those who are remaining. Mr. Agarwal said on Tuesday at the camp held at Durga Charan Mitra Street. According to the sources in the CEO's office, around 800 residents participated in the assistance campus. Around 200 electors were given Form 6 for inclusion as new voters and over 50 were given Form 8 for changes of address. Nearly a dozen electors submitted their enumeration forms in the campus according to source on November 21. Three welfare bodies from Sanagachi, considered one of the Asia's largest red light areas, had written to Mr. Agrawal urging him to take note of the difficulties that sex workers are facing while filing up the enumeration form and to consider alternative identification for those who are unable to provide information or documents as per ECI guidelines. Cyclone impact sparks fresh calls in Sri Lanka to recast IMF agreement from Colombo. As Sri Lanka reels from Cyclone Ditwan's devastation calls to revisit The ongoing International Monetary Fund program, which critics say impose imposes punishing austerity, are growing louder. At least 638 people died, 191 remains missing, and millions were affected by torrential rains, unprecedented flooding, and multiple landslides that battered Sri Lanka late November. The climate disaster, one of the worst the country has witnessed, has dealt a sharp blow to the island's tentative recovery 3 years after it declared bankruptcy amid a financial meltdown. Last week, opposition leader Sajid Pramadasha asked the Anura Kumara Deshyanke government to renegotiate the IMF deal in the wake of the climate catastrophe, calling for immediate talks with the fund to suspend or amend conditions that aggravate the people's hardships. The UNDP study in 2022 to 23 found that the crushing economic crisis in 2022 had left over half of the island's population multidimensionally vulnerable. Although Sri Lanka has since achieved relative fiscal stability, the condition of the country's poor hit hardest by IMF prescribed spending cuts has worsened in the wake of the recent natural disaster. Over 70 civil society groups and activists across Sri Lanka have called for renegotiation of the IMF deal, debt and climate justice, while a majority of people are reeling under austerity measures, including regressive tax hikes, subsidy cuts, and inadequate social security measures. The government of Sri Lanka has become a prisoner of the ongoing Extended Fund Facility Program of the IMF, said their statement issued on December 8, 2025. Urgent revision. The IMF controlling government spending not only restricts the ability of the government to respond to the ongoing humanitarian crisis, but severely impedes investment in infrastructure, recuperating livelihoods, and adapting to further climate change impacts. They contended, demanding an urgent revision of Sri Lanka's debt restructuring agreement, a massive debt reduction, a halt on subsidy removals, and an immediate standstill on current and future debt servicing for the country's recovery. In 2026, the government must service debt to debt, debt totaling over $2 billion while it tries to lift the country out of the deluge whose full impact is yet to be ascertained. Some development experts have observed that recovery might prove harder than after the Indian Ocean tsunami of 2004. Recognizing the challenge, President Disha Naike told Newsweek magazine in an interview published on December 8, initial estimates indicate that the damage may well be beyond any natural disaster that our island has endured, so we will have to service that while simultaneously rebuilding from climate disasters. This is why that sustainability frameworks for climate vulnerable countries must change. Waiting in on Sri Lanka's predicament, former president of the Maldives, Mohammad Nasheed, recently noted that the climate calamity makes it impossible for Sri Lanka to stay aligned with the IMF program when Sri Lanka faced its financial crisis in 2022. The IMF approved a 4-year extended fund facility after months of negotiation, yet the debt sustainability analysis failed to account for climate shocks, he said in a social media post. As the cyclone's impact began unfolding, Not just Sri Lanka, but several climate vulnerable that distressed countries are in a similar plight. The Climate Vulnerable Forum, an international alliance of over 70 highly climate vulnerable countries, has long called for reforming the DSA to properly value resilience investments and in national capital, and for a reformal G20 common framework that includes automatic debt standstills in response to climate shocks, said Mr. Nasir, who is also the Secretary General of the firm. Emergency financing, however, there are no signs yet that the Sri Lankan government may veer away from IMF program. In fact, the government had sought a $200 million rapid financing instrument from the fund, and IMF spokesman confirmed that Sri Lanka's request for emergency financing will take precedence over the scheduled fifth review of the ongoing extended fund facility. Meanwhile, activists have demanded that the government urgently prioritize equitable relief, focusing on economically and socially marginalized communities most affected by the disaster. The highest casualties were reported from Badula, Kandy, Kegale, Metale, and Nawara area district areas especially prone to landslides and home to already marginalized and vulnerable working class tea plantation workers. The Feminist Collective for Economic Justice, a network of feminist activists across Sri Lanka, shared in a statement demanding universal social protection schemes. The collective called for urgent negotiations with the IMF and other creditors to cancel debt repayment and reverse austerity policies in this crisis context. Zelensky firmly refuses to cede any territory to Russia. From Rome, Ukrainian President Vladimir Volodymyr Zelensky has reaffirmed his firm refusal to cede any territory, resisting US pressure for a painful compromise with Russia as he continued to rally European support for Ukraine. Undoubtedly, Russia insists for us to give up territories. We clearly don't want to give up anything. That's what we are fighting for, Mr. Zelensky said in a WhatsApp chat late Monday in which he answered reporters' question. Do we consider ceding any territories? According to the law, we don't have such right. According to Ukraine's law, our constitution, international law, and to be frank, we don't have a moral right either. In an interview with Politico released on Tuesday, US President Donald Trump again pressed Mr. Zelensky to accept the US proposal that Ukraine cede territory to Vladimir Putin, arguing that Russia retains the upper hand and that Mr. Zelensky's government must play ball. On Monday, Mr. Zelensky held talks in London with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, French President Emmanuel Macron, and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz to strengthen Ukraine's hand amid mounting impatience from Mr. Trump. Sticking point, US and Ukraine negotiators completed 3 days of talks on Saturday aimed at trying to narrow differences on the United States administration's peace proposal. A major sticking point in the plan is the suggestion that Kiev must cede control of the Donbas region of eastern Ukraine to Russia, which illegally occupies most but not all the territory. Ukraine and its European allies have firmly resisted the idea of handling our land. Cambodia was faced fight as Thailand crisis worsened. Violence has left multiple casualties on both sides, with While Cambodia reported 7 civilian deaths, Thailand claimed that 3 of its soldiers were killed. The combat follows a Sunday's skirmish from Surin. Cambodia's powerful Senate President Hun Sen on Tuesday vowed a fierce fight against Thailand as a second day of widespread renewed combat between the Southeast Asian neighbors drove tens of thousands of people to flee border areas. Fighting broke out following a skirmish on Sunday during which 2 Thai soldiers were injured, delaying a ceasefire that ended fighting over competing territorial claims in July. The 5 days of fighting then left dozens dead on both sides and forced the evacuation of over 1 lakh civilians. Thai Prime Minister Anutin Charan said on Tuesday that Cambodia had not yet contacted Thailand about possible negotiations and the fighting would continue. We had got to do what we have got to do, he said. The government will support all kinds of military operations as planned earlier. He said on Monday that military action was necessary to safeguard the nation's sovereignty and ensure public safety. In a statement posted to Facebook and Telegram, Hun Sen claimed that his country had refrained from retaliating on Monday but overnight began to fire back at Thai force. Cambodia's military announced on Tuesday that the new fighting had killed 7 civilians and wounded 20. A Thai military spokesperson said that 3 soldiers have been killed. South Korea sends fighters after Russian planned approach from Seoul. South Korea said it had sent up fighter jets on Tuesday after 7 Russian and 2 Chinese military aircraft entered its air defense zone. The Russian and Chinese aircraft entered the Korean air defense identification zone around 10 a.m. local time. Seoul's Joint Chiefs of Staff said in a statement none of the planes violated South Korean airspace. They added. Seoul said it deployed fighter jets to take practical measures in preparation for any contingencies in response. The planes flew in and out of the zone for an hour before leaving the military shed. IMF forecasts $1.2 billion for Pakistan from bailout, citing economic progress. Musk says Europe must become less dependent on United States. At least 22 people killed in office building fire in Indonesia's capital. ICC sentences Sudanese militia leader to 20 years imprisonment. Facial recognition for food ads. Anganwadi workers move court. From Mumbai, several Anganwadi workers approached the Mumbai High Court on Tuesday challenging the union government's decision to make facial recognition and one-time password OTP verification mandatory for distribution of take-home ration under the Portion 2.0 scheme. The petition alleges that the system has caused great hardship to workers and beneficiaries and seeks directions to make the digital process optional. Or 30% students in Odisha schools drop out before higher secondary level CAG from Bhubaneswar, Odisha recorded a sharp decline in the gross enrollment ratio during the transition of students from the secondary to the higher secondary level, according to a comptroller and Auditor General of India report tabled in the Assembly on Tuesday. Fear of dog meat trade rise in Assam town as stays commission. Animal rights activists fear the dogs may have been captured illegally from Guwahati. Kejriwal hits out at Gujarat government, says he was not allowed to meet farmers in Rajkot jail from Ahmedabad, questioning the Gujarat government's handling of recent farmer arrest. Aam Aadmi Party National Convener Arvind Kejriwal on Tuesday alleged that officials denied him permission to meet the arrested farmers and party workers in Rajkot. Arunachal outfits demand oust of illegal immigrants from Guwahati. Panel seeks public input on fresh draft proposal for MHA on issues faced by Ladakh from Srinagar. The Leh apex body, an amalgam of socio-religious bodies in Ladakh on Tuesday, asked locals to share their inputs to draft a fresh proposal for the Ministry of Home Affairs on the issues faced by the Union Territory. Bihar Cabinet clears creation of three new departments. Baba Adho cremated with the state owners in Pune. Goa nightclub Blaz police issue LOC against two more owners. Illegal shack raised. One of one of them is a British citizen police. One of them is a British citizen police help sought from Interpol through the CBI for locating the two main owners, said CM. Tourism Department demolishes beach shack illegally constructed by Luthras from New Delhi or Panji. Goa police on Tuesday issued a lookout circular against two persons of the Burj by Romeo Lane nightclub, an action taken after the club's two owners managed to flee the country to Thailand just hours following the devastating Sunday blast that killed 25 people. The LOC was issued against Ajay Gupta and Surinder Kumar Khosla, a British citizen deputy inspector general of police. Varsha Sharma told reporters she said the two were also believed to own the nightclub. Madras High Court summons Tamil Nadu Chief Secretary ADGP in Deepam Rao from Madurai. Justice G.R. Swaminathan of the Madras High Court Madurai bench on Tuesday summoned the Tamil Nadu Chief Secretary and the Additional Director General of Police, Law and Order, to appear before the courts through video conferencing at 3 p.m. on December 17. He was hearing the contempt petition filed in the issue of lighting of Kartikai Deepam at the Deepadhun pillar in the Thirupal Thiruparakundram hill. He also implicated the Union Home Secretary as a respondent in the case. He said, I noticed a definite pattern. I am certain that officials at the district level would not dare so brazenly to defy the orders of this court. Let me remind the officials concerned that their duty is to enforce the law and not go by dictates that are often issued orally, while the order of any administrative superior has to be complied with. This obligation does not extend to illegal orders. I have already ordered notice in the contempt petition. It is beyond dispute that the order of this court has been breached repeatedly. The judge said such a breach would acquire a contumacious character only if it was willful. The officials might have to explain why they behaved in the manner they did. But since such conduct is not confined to one district, I have to necessarily call upon the highest officials of the state to clarify. I would want to know from them if they propose to issue any circular or instruction for the guidance of the district level officer. I am not here to throw up any hands and helplessly cry, "Oh, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing," the judge said. India must define its own development trajectory. India must define its own development trajectory in a world marked increasingly by fractured alliance and strategic self-preservation. Adani Group chairman Gautam Adani said on Tuesday while speaking at the Indian Institute of Technology, Indian School of Mines, Dhanbad. India well positioned to build sovereign AI AMD's Jacharya from Bangalore. India's rightly positioned to build its own sovereign AI, stated Thomas Jacharya, Senior Vice President, Strategic Technology, Partnerships and Public Policy at AMD Advanced Micro Devices. Indian firms report second strongest hiring outlook for Jan to March. From New Delhi, employers in India project the second strongest employment outlook globally during the January-March period next year, with the net employment outlook at 52%, a report by Manpower Group said. As per the Manpower Group Employment Outlook Survey, NEO for first quarter of 2026 stood at 52%, a rise of 27% over previous quarter and up to 30% from the year ago period. Better DPR planning can help save up to 17 lakh crore rupees. Vector says from Mumbai, UP to 17 lakh crore rupees across the national infrastructure pipeline can be saved by India through strengthening pre-construction planning, especially the detailed project report stage. A white paper released by Vector Consulting Group emphasized the study questions that India's infrastructure ecosystem is stuck in a pattern where all stakeholders, government agencies, DPR consultants, and contractors operate with good intent yet systematic design flaws make delays and cost overruns nearly inevitable. The white paper, based on insights from CXOs of 16 major infrastructure companies, each with revenue of more than 1,000 crore rupees and 30 leading DPR consulting consulting companies, finds most mid-execution disruptions stem from incomplete surveys, outdated baseline data, and insufficient design validation during the DPR stage. Ashok Leland rolls out compact engine line from Chennai. India Farms reports second strongest hiring outlook for Jan to March. Avironics unveils compact backpack size spraying drone. India Vision Arkin Gupta features in Forbes under 30. China to limit access to NVIDIA's H200 chips. Money went to fund most retail investors' money went to fund motors in 2025. Growth in DMAT accounts and IPO issues coincide with each other in India, signaling a development of Indian retail investors, shows analysis from Mumbai. The coinciding increase in demand accounts and companies listing in the stock market may be good for promoters but not so much for retail investors according to an analysis. The growth in demand accounts and the growth of IPO issues coincide with each other in India, and this signals a development in the Indian retail investor according to the How India Invest Report 2025 by Grow and Ban and Company. Dematerialized accounts grew nearly 5 times over the last 5 years because of a post-pandemic boom in IPOs, according to the report. In India, Microsoft to invest one. Uh, in India, Microsoft to invest $17.5 billion in 4 years. CEO Nadella says from Bengaluru. Microsoft, a Redmond-based tech giant, has committed a whopping $17.5 billion, the largest investment ever in Asia, to help build the infrastructure, skills, and sovereign capabilities needed for India's at first future. Firms in India strive to grow leaders. India include its India Alliance is placing leadership continuity at the heart of its growth agenda. Deloitte India Talent Readiness Study 2025 found that 78% of organizations have institutionalized formal succession management frameworks, a sharp rise from 72% in 2024. This decisive shift reflects how Indian businesses are moving beyond traditional HR processes to build resilient, future ready leadership pipelines that can navigate uncertainty and sustain competitiveness, says the report. The study, covering 156 organizations across the manufacturing, service, and life science industry, highlights how businesses are re- reimagining their talent strategies amid technological disruption and evolving workforce priorities. It highlights five emerging priorities shaping India includes next wave of talent readiness, succession, planning for CX or readiness, family business succession, AI driven talent decision, increased investment in high potential talent, management and specialist tracks for high potential talent. Three in four organizations in India have adopted formal high potential talent management processes and now define how potential talent as a person who is ambitious and demonstrates next level capability. In 2024, it was characterized as high performer and next level capability. India include also has 24% women as high potential employees, with their representation becoming increasingly skewed negatively as one progresses to higher levels of management. Family led enterprises. The study finds that most next generation leaders, 57%, step into business between the ages of 24 and 27. Four in five of these leaders progress to border level roles within the first 5 years of their joining. Additionally, 60% of family enterprises now include spouses in active business roles. Three out of four organizations, 74%, have institutionalized high potential programs, while 77% offer fast track career opportunities to accelerate leadership growth. However, only 20% of organizations have embedded AI and analytics into these programs, signaling a major opportunity for digital integration in talent management. Only 9% of organizations currently use AI tools in succession management. Most respondents, 74%, reported minimal data use, including an emerging frontier where AI can power deeper talent insights from mapping collaboration networks to predicting leadership success profiles as India's growth story accelerates. The findings underscore that the country's talent agenda is entering a new era, one defined by readiness, resilience, and reinvention, says the report. Organizers that align capability building with business strategy harness AI to unlock our workforce Our intelligence and empower emerging leaders will not only future-proof their enterprises but also shape the next generation of India's corporate leadership, expressing gratitude in sign language. Zomato, India's food ordering and delivery platform, unveiled a new film that celebrates the resilience of its hearing impaired delivery partners and highlights how small acts of kindness can make their daily hustle more meaningful. Mamta rejects conditions given by center to resume MZ and REGS Manregas in West Bengal from Kolkata. Rising global use of Aadhaar like ID systems dangerous from